Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, then welcome. My name's Christina, and on my channel we talk all things beauty from my own experiences. And today I am taking you guys shopping with me at Sephora. Recently, I took a couple trips to Sephora, just trying out a bunch of new products and wanting to see it in person so I could kind of swatch the different shades, see what the formulations were like, because like I've mentioned in a lot of videos recently, I'm trying to be a little bit smarter with my beauty consumption, and I'm trying to only purchase the shades and the formulas that I think you guys are one, interested in, and two, will actually work for me. So going into store really helps me determine what might be worth it to pick up and what might be something that I can pass on. So I have a ton of footage from my shopping trips. There are multiple trips in this video, so I'm just gonna go cut to that footage and then we'll talk all about what I actually purchased and we'll put everything on the face. Alright, so I thought I would take you with me to Sephora because there's been a couple of new releases this week and I really want to check them out. Specifically, I want to go look at the new Rare Beauty finishing powders and also the new Kulfi lip oils. I just parked. I actually got a really good parking spot, which I'm really excited about. And I also wanted to see if there are other things that we could swatch and just see in person so I can determine what I want. I was thinking of doing a delivery, but honestly, I'm not sure of my shades for a lot of things. I feel like seeing it in person always helps me narrow down the shades and stuff. So I thought I would do that today. It's around 12:45 on a Friday, and I try to go to Sephora and Ulta and stuff like that earlier in the week, but since a lot of these things release later this week, I wanted to go as early as possible during the weekend because it does get pretty crazy on the weekends. So hopefully it's not too bad, and I get such bad anxiety when I'm gonna go film in Sephora and Ulta and stuff like that because I don't want them to kick me out, guys. Crossing my fingers that they don't care that I'm filming. I try to be really low-key about it. So hopefully we succeed and it's a successful shopping trip. So let's go try to do this. All right, let's get started. So at the front tables were some hair care products that I had been eyeing. The Day Hair Wand was so messy and sticky, it turned me off, but I'm wondering if a fresh tube of this would be nice. And you guys know my love affair with Fable and Mane. Their products just work so well in my hair. And then I had to go straight over to Rare Beauty's section to check out the powders. I was deciding between the shades Buff, Light Beige, and Sand because all of them seemed pretty warm. I feel like seeing the Hourglass blushes in person solidified how small they seemed online. They had the testers in the Hourglass section, so I swatched them there, and I swatched the shades Vision, Moment, and Scene right here. These are fresh swatches, and then I also blended it out onto my arm so you guys could see. I was really feeling the shade Moment right here in the middle. Then I headed over to Fenty's section to swatch more of the lip liners, but ultimately I decided to wait on these just because I have so many new lip liners. And I also wanted to smell the new Fenty skin lip masks and lip oils, but unfortunately they didn't have all of the testers out just yet. And I do love both formulas, but still have some, so I didn't feel like I needed them that bad. But what I do need is this new body milk. It smells exactly like the body butter, but a lighter weight feeling, and it felt perfect for the summertime. Oh my gosh, I need this one actually. Kind of late to swatching the Glossier lip liners, but I tried out Graze, Buff, and Flush. I was really feeling the tones of these. They seem perfect for a natural contour. Buff specifically looks like something I usually go for. Also went ahead and swatched the Makeup by Mario Cheek Pops for you guys to see. I had to do a quick glance at the new Sephora Favorites kits. These are nice to test things out, and I feel like the perfume samplers are always the best deals. I am so curious about the new Sephora skin tints. I have a lot of skin tints currently, and I probably would only pick this up if the majority of you guys want to see it, but on first glance, it seems like 200N would be my shade. I thought today would finally be the day that I picked up the Huda Strawberry Cream blush, but to my dismay, I realized that it has glitter? I had no idea. This was my first time seeing anything about the new One Size Extreme Mattifying Primer. I swatched that and the original mattifying primer on my hand, and you can see a clear line of demarcation in the center separating the two. The new one is on the right. It was very mattifying, but after it sat for a few minutes, it turned kind of whitish and dried out almost like clay. Turned me off, to be honest, but I am curious to see how it would sit on the face with makeup on top. Here's a little footage that I got of that primer on the back of my hand in my car afterwards. I felt like you could probably see it a little bit better here, but yeah, you can definitely see a little whitish and sinking in to those lines on the back of my hand, but I assume that it wouldn't do that once you put actual makeup on top. The Milk KUSH Tubing Brow Tint, this was another I specifically came to Sephora for. I saw the In Beauty Project Elastic Skin in stores for the first time, and it's supposed to be a vegan alternative to stale mucin, and you can definitely see the texture is very similar. Hello Sunday SPF caught my attention, especially the mineral one. It had a slight white cast, but it blended like an oil serum and seems so similar to a lot of my favorite sunscreens. Plus, it's a mineral. The everyday one also felt really nice. And here are some of those swatches outside. We have the Huda Liquid Blush in Strawberry Cream, the Glossier Lip Liner in Buff on the left, and Tower 28 one-liners in Check Me Out and Paint My Numbers. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed that footage. Now let's go over what is in this little bag. Do not be deceived. As you guys know, doesn't matter how small the Sephora bag is, it can be hundreds of dollars, or it could be like $20. You know, you never know with these bags. They're like a mystery bag. But let's go over everything I purchased. So I did end up picking up the Rare Beauty True to Myself Tinted Press Finishing Powder in the shade Light Beige. I have tested this out a little bit, so we'll talk about my thoughts on it so far. By the way, I have already tested out the majority of these products. I'm just going to be demoing it all on my face with you guys and give you what I think about these so far. I also finally picked up the Ciele Sculpt and Protect SPF 30 Sculpting Stick. I purchased mine in the shade Medium. However, I think I could have gone up one shade, but this seems like it's going to be my most used throughout the year type of shade. I grabbed two of the brand new Kulfi Lassi lips. These are like lip oil, glossy lip oil stain type of products, and I got both the shades Caramel and Rose. We have one of the Glossier lip liners in the shade Buff. I was debating on getting another shade. I think it was the shade Bit or Nude or Nip or something. I can't remember, but I went with the shade Buff. I grabbed the brand new Merit Signature lip in the shade Ginger. They were literally redoing this whole face at the Sephora store that I went in, so I had to ask the associate that was actually putting together the facing of Merit, and I was like, I'm so sorry to bother you. I know that you're busy, but do you guys have the brand new shade? Because I checked on their app and it said they had it in store, and she was nice enough to grab it in the back for me. I haven't even opened this. I did get to swatch it in store though. Like, she pulled out a new sample or a tester for me and I swatched it and it looked beautiful. So I'm really excited. You guys know I really like the signature lip formula from Merit. I did end up purchasing the Milk KUSH High Roll Brow Tint in the shade Grind. I did do a little video on this. I think it's on my TikTok. If it's not on my TikTok, it's on my Instagram. But shade Grind, I was between this one and the shade above that, I think, which is Diesel. But I went with this, and so far I'm happy with the shade. And I actually did end up exchanging the shade Moment in the Unreal Blush for the shade Vision. I did a little video again on the shade Moment and I liked it enough, but at the same time I was kind of like, do I like this formula enough to have two shades of it? And I didn't think so because it is really expensive. So I ended up grabbing the shade Vision instead. I already threw the packaging away for this. Again, I have a small video on this. This is the Dr. Dennis Gross Plump and Repair Lip Treatment. It's like the plumping pen that they have. And spoiler, you guys, this is like actually, like, you can see an actual difference with this. And then just wanted to throw it in there, I did do a quick pit stop at Ulta and I picked up one of the brand new MAC Glow Play Cushiony blush shades in the shade Ginger Luck. And I'm actually really glad that I picked up this one. I was between this and Blush Please, but I picked up Ginger Luck, which I guess I completely forgot, but I have the shade Gingerly in the regular powder blush version, and this is supposed to be the counterpart to that blush powder. So me being a shopping addict, I completely forgot I had it. So it worked out in my favor that I ended up picking this one up. All right, so that was everything that I picked up. Now let's get everything on the face and let me share with you guys my very, very, very fresh impressions. I won't say first impression because I have already tried on pretty much all of these except for the Merit lip color, but let me share with you guys my thoughts on it so far, which let me know in the comments down below if you prefer to hear my thoughts on something that I'm just starting to try out versus a very first impression. Like, is it more helpful for you guys, or do you want to see the raw, very first impression? What do you enjoy the most? Let me know in the comments down below and I'll continue to do whatever the majority really likes. All right, let's start off with plumping our lips. So I picked this up and oh my gosh, this one was painful, not because it actually hurts, but the price point. This is expensive. And when it first came out, I was like, okay, there's another lip plumper on the market. Yay, whatever. But I saw more videos on this recently and it really, really intrigued me to the point where I just on a whim picked it up, which is very unlike me to buy something this expensive that I don't typically wear often. Like, yes, maybe I'll spend that much on an eyeshadow palette full price, you know, or like a blush full price. But when it comes to like a lip plumper, I don't usually spend this much on it. But let me tell you guys, this I actually have seen a difference on, and I posted a short video on my Instagram and my TikTok, I think, and people are saying that they do see a difference in my lips. So let's do a little look right here. My lips are bare. Okay, so this is what my lips look like before we use this product. So it does look like this jumbo injector thing, which I think is cute. I think it's nice and it's usable. I actually like the spring on here because I feel like it pushes up a lot of product without being too much, you know? So there's the product. And we are just going to apply this on the lips. And my very initial impression on this was I was really happy with the fact that it was not burning the crap out of my lips. Like, you know, with lip plumpers that seemingly do work, they usually feel very, very spicy, very cinnamon-like they have like cayenne pepper or cinnamon in them and they burn. This one, it definitely, you do feel a tingle. It does get a little bit like spicy and a little bit itchy, but seriously, not anywhere near other lip plumpers that have come out on the market recently. For instance, the Maybelline lip plumping glosses, those for me personally, way too spicy, and so are the NYX Duck Plump lips. Those both so spicy. I think I got some on in my mouth actually just now while I'm talking. I kind of feel it on the tip of my tongue. Let me get rid of that. While this does get relatively spicy, it is not as intense and it doesn't last as long, but I still feel like I see a noticeable difference. We will see in a couple minutes here. You'll see that my lips are going to look more pigmented and slightly more full from the 2 times that I've used this so far. I have noticed that. Okay, while we let that settle in, let's go ahead and go in with the brows. This is the Milk KUSH Roll Brow Tint. Again, I got this in the shade Grind, and the reason why this is so interesting and why it like piqued my interest is because it is a tubing brow tint. That's nothing that I have seen quite yet on the market. We've seen tinted brow gels. There's so many brands that have it. But if you've ever used a tubing mascara, essentially what it does is it takes the product and it creates a tube all around your lashes, thus building on top of itself versus building on top of your lash. And it's a lot easier to remove and it's supposed to stay, no smudging, anything like that. So same concept, except for your brow hairs. And so far, I've been having really, really good luck with this. I will say that if you're skeptical and if you think that this is going to be messy like I thought it was going to be, you should probably go in with a very light hand. I think that just goes without saying for anyone that's going to use this. Go in with a light hand, and what I have been doing is focusing it on the base of my brows and then feathering it up, because I noticed that if I kind of like feather it willy-nilly like I usually do with my brow gels that are clear, it starts to kind of coat the tip of my brows too much, and then it gets a little bit too lengthened and you can see like the tube essentially. I don't know how to explain it, but all that to say, focus on the base of your brows and then start to feather it up. And I don't have to go back and forth with this like I usually do with like my Rare Beauty brow gel to really coat it into the brows. This one carries enough product on that spoolie to where you can just brush it in place and then your brows are coated. And granted, it still does get pretty messy. Like you can see right here, I do have product. I could probably clean it up right here. And I haven't had any issue with cleaning it up. Like it's not too stubborn. I can literally just take my finger and wipe it away. You can take a Q-tip if you want, wipe it away. You can take a brush and wipe it away. But just know you will have to kind of clean it up. So I would recommend using this before the rest of your makeup. But look at this. This is with that brow tint and this is without. Even if I were to comb my brow hairs up for you so you could see what it looks like, you can see I have a lot of sparse areas right at the tail end of my brows, right there. But here, it essentially thickened the brows in front of it or surrounding it, so it gives the illusion that that area is not as sparse. I have really been liking this, and not only does it fill in those gaps in my brows, but it actually holds my brows up all day, which is so nice, and I am pleasantly surprised by that. And I will say, if you're used to something like the Rare Beauty brow gel where it's more of like a liquid wax and it's soft and malleable, this is going to dry down. It's not going to dry down as hard as something like, I don't know, the Got To Be glue. This does have a little bit of softness to it, but it's still going to essentially dry down completely. So you will have a little bit of crunchiness on there, but it hasn't bothered me yet because it doesn't flake off, it doesn't ball away or anything like that, and it doesn't look super dry like there's a gel in your brows, you know what I mean? So I have really been liking this, and I haven't filled in my entire brows since I've gotten this. I have though like shaped up the bottom half so it has a little bit more structure, but there have been days where I don't even do that and I really like it. So this has been a hit for me so far. I am so happy with this, and I did not expect to like this as much as I do. All right, so that is that. I feel like I did this one a lot higher than I did on here. So let me tame that down a little bit to get them to match more. And you're gonna wanna fix these before they dry down, by the way. And while I'm not going to fill in those sparse areas, I think I am gonna kind of like taper out my brows a little more because my natural brows are not as like sharp on the end as I want them to be. So I'm just gonna take a pen and sharpen it. I have a little bald spot right there. I'm just gonna fill that in with the same pen, and then we will be good on the brows. Okay, there you go. Super easy, super simple. Really like this. All right, actually, before we move on, I want to adjust the lips right now. And as you can see immediately, the lips look a lot more pigmented. And for me, I see the most difference on my upper lip whenever I use this. My upper lip is lopsided, so one side kind of like droops down more than the other. I think it's this side. This side kind of like slopes down a little more aggressively than here where it's like curved and then this does this thing right here. But whenever I use this, I feel like it kind of like fills in that area so it's not as crazy, and it's a lot easier for me to use a lip liner, line my lips, and then get it to look even faster. So I really like this, and on top of that, I think it actually plumps the entire area of my lips, so my lip lines look a lot less aggressive, a lot less noticeable, and my lips in general just look more plump. Even when I wipe this off, my lips look more plump and look more hydrated, which again is another great thing that I like about this, because this feels like a lip plumper treatment versus like a lip plumping gloss or something that you use at the very end, you know? So my lips actually feel like I had lip balm on them. Whenever I wipe this off, my lips feel soft and they feel hydrated versus a gloss where, you know, essentially when you wipe it off, it's pretty much like back to how it was before you put the gloss on. I'm still kind of like on the fence about if it's worth the $40+ that it was. It works, but we'll see how much I use this, like how much I have this in my routine, you know, to actually make it worth it. But If what you're looking for is a lip plumper that works, that does not hurt and make your lips super itchy and irritated, this is going to be the one, guys. It's good. So I didn't get a new foundation or a new concealer, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do my base, and I'm gonna be using my Urban Decay Quickie Concealer in the shade 50NN, and I'm actually gonna use this as my foundation today. I'm skipping my color corrector because I find that this concealer gives me really nice coverage, and I kind of want to go for slightly more natural makeup today. I don't know, I'm not really going anywhere. I'm just like playing with this makeup. So we're just gonna use this, spread it all over the face, and I'll be right back to go over the cheek products. Okay, so now the base is done. We just went in with that Urban Decay Quickie Concealer, and then I also used my Hourglass concealer just to like brighten up the under eyes. So let's now go in with our bronzer. And again, this is the Ciele Sculpt and Protect SPF 30. This has been on my wish list for quite a long time, and I'm really excited to have it finally. It is beautiful. I think that this is such a good formula. It's nice and creamy, but it's not greasy at all. So for someone like me that has oily skin, it works perfectly. If you guys are looking for more recommendations for cream bronzers and blushes that are good for oily skin, I just recently posted a video talking about how to get a natural dewy makeup look, even though you have oily skin, and how to like kind of maintain the look throughout the day. So check that out if you're interested. But we're just taking this, and I warmed it up on my hand, and we're just going to put this on the forehead and along the cheeks as well, just to like warm it up. Usually I do it on the back of my hand, but I saw someone do it on the palm of their hand, and it just made me try it. And it's, I don't know, it's pretty much the same. I don't know. Don't quote me, guys. I do really like to warm up my stick and cream like products on the back of my hand though, or I guess here, front of my hand, because it does melt it in to your brush really well, and it allows you to like distribute it really evenly versus taking it immediately on your brush or taking it immediately on the face. I feel like this will give you a more even light coverage to begin with, and then you can just like build up from there. This is great, especially for like an everyday makeup day. And as you can see, this medium shade works really well. I kind of went pretty crazy on the forehead just now. We will blend that out so it looks more manageable and natural. Overall, I think that this medium undertone is really great for my skin tone currently. I was a little bit nervous that it was going to be too light, but I am learning. If I'm debating on two bronzer shades and I decide to go with the darker one, usually, more often than not, it'll look muddy on the face, and that lighter shade that I was debating on was actually a better match, or just my preference. So I am learning to pick better bronzer shades for myself so I don't look muddy. But I like this. It's a very warm undertone though, so it's for sure a bronzer, not a contour. This is just going to warm up your face. You're going to want to use this anywhere that the sun would naturally tan you versus taking it like in your hollows and stuff. I do, however, like to just get it right there on my neck, and then I'll blend that out just to give me a little definition on the jaw. I kind of do this with my contour or my bronzer product. I have not decided yet if I prefer one over the other. I'm pretty sure you're supposed to use your contour shade, but I don't know. I've been doing this and I've been really liking it. It feels like a more natural way to get definition on the jaw, you know? I'm just going to pat this out, especially the forehead, because I went pretty ham on it, but it's okay. We'll lighten it a little bit once we go in with our powder. And actually, you guys, this shade also works really nicely as a nose contour. It is going to be, like I said, fairly warm, but there's something about this specific one and this undertone that still works. Like, it doesn't look like, dang girl, you used bronzer to contour your nose. It kind of brings a little bit of a bronzy look to the face, so it looks like a natural tan. Like I was out in the sun and my nose got a little bit tan, you know? So I like it. And this is a Morphe brush. It's the V105. It's like one of the best Morphe brushes I've ever had because it has like this taper to it. So it tapers to the center on either side, and you can lay it flat whenever you contour your nose. It's really great. And I like to use my nose contour and define the inner part right here of my eyelid. I feel like it makes more of a smooth transition, and it also makes my eyelids look a little bit a little more deep set versus being so flat. All right, just a simple contour, and we'll further define that with our powder. And I'm also just taking this and dragging it into the rest of the bronzer here, but I'm taking it on my lids to just add a little bit. I don't think I'm gonna do any eyeshadow really today, so this will just help define. This is so good, and I love the fact that it has SPF in it. I have been loving Ciele. If you guys haven't tried Ciele yet, I'm telling you, all the things, the skin tint, the blush, and now the bronzer, so good. I'm like, do I need the powder? That seems like one of the better ones to use for all over face protection from the sun, but I have so many powders. I can't do it just yet. So I was debating on which one to use, and honestly, I feel like you guys want to see the Hourglass Unreal Blush more than the MAC Glow Play, so that's what we're going to do. I may do a short little video on this, so if you're interested, keep an eye out for that. But this shade is supposed to be a true rose shade from the description. We're giving it a really nice shake because this does have a very fine like serum texture to it. So you want to make sure that you mix the serum formula with the pigment that's in here. And again, it has this like push button and this dispenser, which everyone seems so pressed about, but honestly, I really like it. First of all, it keeps it very sanitary, and also no product gets stuck in the nozzle. Everything gets dispensed, so you can use all of the product that you have. And it also gives you just the right amount of product as well. So we're using this today. I have yet to figure out what brush works the best with this, but today we're going to be using the BK Nicky LaRose N17 brush. It's a great brush for creams, for powders, all the things. So we're going to take one drop right here. I think I've kind of settled on the fact that 2 drops works for my entire face, but again, I don't know. We're still in the early stages of testing. So I'm going to take this, and instead of like patting it all over the back of my hand, we are just going to go directly in here. I find that this is kind of sheer because of that serum formulation, but because of the shade, the specific one, I can go a little heavy-handed. With the shade Moment, more of that like peachy shade, I used more product, I think, just because the nature of that shade on my complexion was quite light. But with this one, it is a little bit dark. So as you can see, it kind of just like blends out. And I think a lot of it has to do, again, with that more skincare serum like formula. So it's a beautiful blend. It's so easy to use. And even though it's pigmented, I would say that it's not as in your face pigmented as something like the Rare Beauty Liquid Touch blushes. So if you find that you get really heavy handed with that, but you want pigmentation and you want a liquid blush, this might be a really good one for you to pick up, because as you saw right there, as I was talking, I just blended that out and it was super easy. I will say that not a lot of the shades call to me. I want to try the shade Scene, but every time I go in store, I've gone in twice now and I've swatched it both times. It just looks like it's going to be a little too pale and a little bit like ashy, maybe a little chalky on my skin tone. But the photos online, it looks like it would be beautiful and right up my alley, like more of that muted nude type of blush. I don't know though, if you guys have it and you have a skin tone similar to mine, let me know if it actually like shows up and if it's pretty, because I'm really curious. Oh, another thing about this specific shade though, it has glitter. I don't know why they decided to do that, but you can't really see it on the face. Unless you're really looking for it, you like can't tell. But maybe on the back of my hand here, you'll be able to see that there's like glitter particles. I was very surprised to see that whenever I was swatching it in store. I wish there was no glitter in here, but maybe because it is a darker shade, the glitter gives it a little bit more definition, more of a blend, I guess, because darker, deeper shades tend to be, by nature, a little bit harder to blend. I don't know. I'm making things up in my head right now to kind of justify why there's glitter in it. I may never know. Okay, I'm back. I went ahead and just did a little bit of mascara and eyeliner on my eyes. So now I want to go over powder. And while I didn't haul anything from Sephora, I was sent 2 new shades of the Laura Mercier Ultra Blur powders. This is in the shade Rose, and they also sent me the shade Honey. Right now, I think the shade Honey is a little bit dark for me. However, I am going to be going on vacation in August. I'm going to Japan with my husband. I'm very, very excited, and I know we're going to be walking a ton. We're going to get very tan as a result of it. So I think Honey is going to be perfect for me after that trip. But right now, I have been using the shade Rose this last like week or so. And if you don't already know, the Ultra Blur formulation of these powders, it definitely is different from their original translucent regular loose setting powder, which already we all know is a staple. It is an OG classic and it's very, very blurring, but this Ultra Blur somehow is even more finely milled. I don't know how they did it, but it's great. I've been using the translucent version of this for a couple weeks, if not a couple months now. I just got the mini because I wanted to test it out to see if it really was different from the original loose powder, and it definitely is. I love it. It is such a good setting powder. It really does set down and keep your makeup in place all day. It's just the best. And this rose shade adds a little bit of brightness and a little bit of like a pinky tone to the under eyes, but it's not too much. Like, it really does look good. So I'm just taking some on a puff, and I'm going to use this to bake my under eyes. And I did stamp out my concealer to make sure I didn't have any creasing going on, by the way. But I'm going to use this to do a fairly decent bake. I wouldn't say a heavy bake, but like my usual bake, you know? Stamping out that concealer, making sure everything is smooth, and then just taking this powder in those areas. And as you can see, there is a touch of rose, like a touch of pink in there, but it's really not anything too intense. If anything, it kind of adds a little bit of a light tone to my under eyes, and I have really been enjoying it. This also kind of complements the blush because it doesn't completely get rid of the color underneath it. If you guys have not tried this Ultra Blur formulation just yet and you do have oily skin like me, I would highly recommend that you try it out and see what you think about it, because I have seriously been loving this. And I'm just gonna take this up here, and that should decrease how crazy we went with the bronzer on the forehead. And I usually do go in with the regular one, like the regular shade, to kind of cut out and define my cheeks. But today, because we're using it and we're playing with makeup, I'm just gonna go ahead and use the same powder to just sculpt out the cheek. So like I mentioned, just very casually just now, I am heading to Japan with my husband in a couple of weeks, and I'm so excited. If you guys didn't know, I used to live in Japan when I was younger. My dad was in the Navy, and we were stationed in Yokosuka, Japan for about 3 years. And I was in 3rd grade and through 6th grade, I think it was. So I have not been back in over 20 years. Isn't that crazy? I can't even believe that much time has passed. Very excited for it. We're going because my husband, his work sent him out there, and he's there for a couple of weeks before I get there. And then when I get there, he's taking some time off, and we are going to enjoy our time together there. So it's gonna be great. I'm really, really excited. So now I'm just gonna take a clean brush, and we're just gonna go ahead and wipe off that bake. I don't want it to stay on for too long because, like I said, we're going for more of like an everyday look today. I don't really need anything too intense. I'm literally just gonna be home doing chores, probably editing and working. So we're gonna keep it pretty chill here. And I'm taking a light hand and wiping this bake away, but I'm also going to drag it over that blush and bronzer combo just to set it down before we go in with any powder products. And I'm just gonna go in and clean that brush really quickly. And now we're gonna go in with the Rare Beauty finishing powder. Now, like I said, I got this in the shade Light Beige. And as you can see, it does look a little bit dark. When I was swatching the shades in store, all of the ones I compared, I was like, okay, this one is going to be pretty much a perfect match for me. Like, I swatched on the back of my hand, I swatched it on my arm, I compared it everywhere. But when I got it on my face the first time, I was like, oh no, this is a little bit dark. Not that it was too dark for all over my face, but it definitely kind of darkened up the under eye area. And I was like, dang, this is not going to work for me. However, because I do anticipate that I'm going to get more tan, I think I'm going to hold on to this. I may take it with me on my trip so I can use this as I progressively get a little bit more tan. Hopefully it works out. I can make it work. It just kind of deepens up a little bit. So I'm just gonna be very liberal with this. This is a super fine powder and it looks so good on the skin. I'm just tapping it out and I'm gonna go over again that blush and bronzer to set it down and get it prepped for powder. But the way that this makes your skin look, it looks very, very soft, very airbrushed. And I think it actually does help with keeping my oils away for a longer period of time as I'm wearing it. I'm just doing one half of my face so you guys can kind of see how this looks. I am kind of brushing it under my eyes. That's probably not the best, knowing that it's a little bit dark for me, but it's okay. Okay, so we have it on this side of the face right now versus just the setting powder on this side. And while both sides are mattified and we are looking set down, that Laura Mercier powder can do the trick by itself. This side almost like softens just a little bit more, which is pretty much the use for finishing powder. It just kind of enhances the finish that you get on your face. It doesn't necessarily set things down by itself, you know? So this is going to give you more of a soft airbrush look. It's gonna be a really great powder to take with you throughout the day to kind of like decrease what your oils look like on your skin essentially. And it's gonna be a lighter weight version of like your setting powder. That's why it's more ideal to take with you on the go for those oils. So overall, I think that this powder is really nice. I like the finish that it's giving me, but is it a necessity? I don't know just yet. I want to play around with it a little bit more and see how it does on the go whenever I'm producing a lot of oils and see how it looks after I like touch up my face, you know? But it gives me a really beautiful finish and it doesn't overly mattify my skin, which you guys know I like a more natural finish even though I am quite oily. This still gives me a very soft focus and it still gives me a really nice natural look. So I've been liking the finish that it gives me, but is it going to replace all of my finishing powders? I don't know quite yet if that is the case. So we will see, but so far, so good. I will say that if you are like swatching it in stores and stuff like that and you're looking for your shade, make sure that you do a little bit of a like light dusting of a swatch on the skin, like on your face, to make sure it matches there too. Because I was a little bit confused why it looked darker on my skin, like on my face versus the rest of my body. Okay, now we're just gonna go in with some bronzer. This is not a new bronzer for me. This is the Sephora Collection Matte Bronzer in the shade 2 Beach Bum Tan, and I'm just using this Morphe Ariel brush. It's the A21, and I'm just going to deepen up all the areas that we use that cream bronzer on, just to set it in place and also to sort of intensify it a little bit. I noticed that this has a fragrance to it. It smells a little floral, and I'm like, why'd you guys do that? And I can't believe it took me this long to even notice it, but yeah, it's weird. I don't hate it and I don't notice it on my skin, but whenever I have the compact open and I'm applying it, I'm like, it's very, very floral. All right, guys, and I actually want to see if we can top powder with this blush. I think I saw someone do it somewhere and it was fine, so I want to try it for myself. I'm not even going to take a full drop. This is like maybe half of a drop. And same brush that we used earlier. Gonna stamp it out here. Oh, maybe I do need more, I don't know. I'm just gonna apply it right on top of that setting powder, finishing powder, and bronzer. And I do notice in general, you guys, whenever you top a powder with like a cream or a liquid product, that cream or liquid product does apply a little bit more intensely than if you were to put it on bare skin. So just go in with less than you initially do on bare skin and then like build it from there so you don't go too crazy like I did on this side. Okay, it's looking pretty good. It doesn't look like it's picking up any of that powder or moving it around or anything like that. It is a little bit harder to blend it right here where we have that bake going on, but just a little bit more work to move it in there, you know? Yeah, that worked pretty well. Good, okay, I'm happy with that. It looks good. All right, and now let's move on to the lips. I'm just wiping away that lip plumper. And like I said, guys, you can see my lips do look a lot more pigmented versus how we started off the video here. And it feels hydrated, like I was wearing a lip balm or like a lip oil treatment. I love the concept of it being a prep product versus like a finishing gloss type of thing. Okay, now we're taking the Glossier lip liner in the shade Buff, and this is a beautiful shade. Oh my goodness. It is the perfect contour-y like shade. It's definitely a pinky brown, like you can see some pink undertones in there, but it's going to be the perfect like contour shade if you have similar pigmentation to your lips as me. And even with my lips a little more pigmented here with that lip plumper, it still works beautifully. So we are going to line the lips here, and I'll show you guys one side. Okay, here is that lip liner on this side right here. As you can see, it doesn't look, I mean, it's obviously darker and more defining on my lips than what my natural lip color is, but it's the perfect tone to where it can kind of like blend into your lips really nicely. If you wanted to go in with just this, blend it a little bit and then put like a clear gloss on top, it would look like a finished lip look and look really beautiful. I think that it just is the perfect defining lip color. These are nice and creamy. I love a lip pencil that you sharpen. I feel like they last a lot longer on the lips, and this does have really good lasting power. I wouldn't say that it's as long as like the Fenty lip liners. Those still, I notice, have great lasting power, and this does have good lasting power, but it does fade throughout the day. I don't know how many hours I've gotten out of this, honestly. I don't think I've worn this enough to like really tell. But I will say it doesn't wipe away easily. Like it doesn't just disappear. It still has a really good longevity to it. So I'm just loving this tone especially. So I'm going to finish lining the rest of my lips. It just glides on and you can easily like diffuse it with your fingers. So beautiful. I just love it. Okay, and now we are taking the Merit Signature Lips in the shade Ginger. I believe that this is a limited edition shade. I'm not quite sure. They came out with it initially maybe a month ago, and it was only available on their site and I think online, but they didn't have in stores, so I did wait to pick it up because I just was not sure. So this seems like a shade that I could essentially wear by itself without a lip liner and almost like a lip balm. I love this formula because it's such a soft lipstick, and not soft as in melty, but the pigmentation on it is very soft, very buildable. It has really nice hydration, and again, it kind of like is a lipstick lip balm in one. And I don't think it has a scent to it. I have so many of these. I just love them. So let's go ahead and apply this. It's supposed to be more of like an apricot shade. That's beautiful. It is not too dark, not too light. I'm sure the lip liner is helping. I feel like alone though, it might be a little bit too pale if I were to wear it without a lip liner. I think the lip liner is helping to just transition it a little more. Oh, that's such a beautiful, natural, soft shade. Oh, I really like that. That is so pretty. This is going to be an everyday lip color for me. If you have a complexion like mine, if you enjoy similar lip colors like me, this is a good one. That's pretty. It is the perfect everyday, natural, peachy, apricot type of lip color. I don't feel like I have a lot of those, so this for me I think is quite unique and something that I would get a lot of use out of. I don't think it goes with the blush per se, but we're just playing with what we got. Okay, and lastly, again, not hauled from Sephora, but sent to me from the brand. This is the TIRTIR Mask Fit Makeup Fixer. It's essentially their setting spray, and I've been testing this out for a couple of weeks now, and so far I like it. It's not mind-blowing or anything, but I do think that it helps my makeup last throughout the day like your standard setting spray. I haven't tested it against a mask. I haven't like tried a transfer test or anything like that. Maybe we should do that, should we? I usually couple my more hydrating setting sprays with my one size because I feel like the one size like locks everything in, even the setting spray that I used before it. So I haven't really tested this alone and done like a transfer test, but let's do that. Let's see how this does. Okay, I'm just gonna take my paper towel that we were using right here, And I guess I'm just gonna press it on the face. I don't want to rub it or anything. I feel like that would be a given that your makeup would like transfer a bit from that. But I'm pressing. Oh, no transfer. That's pretty good. Let's do this side. There's a little bit right there, but other than that, looks pretty good. There's a little mini setting spray review for you guys. So I did not test out the Kulfi Lassi lips in this video because I do have like short videos. I will link that down below for you guys to check out if you're interested. Just know that these are beautiful. I love them. They are a perfect glossy lip stain, and the tones of them, especially caramel, is the perfect like nudie shade if you have a similar skin tone to mine. And then rose is a beautiful like true rose. It's a little bit deeper than something that I would wear for like an everyday basis, but the stain that it leaves on your lips once you wipe away the glossy finish of it is so good. It's almost like a natural like flush, like you ate like a popsicle type of look. These are beautiful. I love them. They feel comfortable. They're so similar to your usual like glossy lip stains like in Asian makeup. This does say it was made in Korea, so it does have that glossy lip stain formula. All right, here is the finished makeup look, you guys. I like it. It's a beautiful, just everyday look for me, something that I would do on a day-to-day basis. So let's do a quick rundown on like my early impressions, not first impressions, but my early impressions on these products. So the Milk KUSH Roll Brow Tint, I really enjoy this. I think that it is perfect if you are someone that wants a quick and easy brow routine. You do have to go in with a light hand, so you may have to like practice with that if you find yourself being a little heavy-handed with your brow products, because I can relate, I understand that, but this is beautiful. I think it's such a good product, and I really like the tubing technology of this. The Ciele Sculpt and Protect did not disappoint. It was on my wish list for so long, and you know, sometimes when you're like wanting something for so long, you kind of make it better in your head. This delivered exactly what I thought it would. It's not too creamy. It's not going to slip and slide. It seems like the type of cream bronzer that's going to dry down on the skin, which is perfect if you have oily skin or if you're wearing it during the summer when the heat and humidity is at like an all-time high. This is beautiful. It's very skinny too, which I actually really appreciate, that it doesn't have that heavy bulkiness to it. I definitely think that this is one that I'm going to be bringing with me on my trip, especially because we are going to be walking and in the sun majority of the time. The Rare Beauty finishing powder, like I said, it's beautiful. It gives me a really nice finish to the skin. I think I need to test it out a little bit more before I have my full thoughts on it, because I want to see how it like touches up throughout the day. But so far, so good. I love the natural finish to it. I like that it doesn't like cling to the face. And even though it is a little bit darker for my skin tone currently, it's soft enough and it spreads out even enough to where it's not going to give me a blotchy dark spot on the skin, which I appreciate. This Glossier lip liner makes me want to buy more from the line just because it's so creamy and it has good lasting power, but it's like the perfect natural contour on the lips. But that is because of the shade. So I'm like trying my hardest not to pick up a bunch of different shades that I'm not going to reach for as much. But this is beautiful. I think it gives such a natural finish, and oh, it's just everything that I wanted it to be. And again, this Merit Signature Lip looks gorgeous, gives such a pretty brightness to the skin, I think. The Hourglass Serum Blush, I think it's pretty. I like the serum formula. I really like the formula of this, but I almost want more shades to choose from. Like I want more muted tones, something a little bit more of a natural finish on my complexion. That is a very selfish ask because it's for me specifically, but as far as the formula goes, it's really pretty. I wish there wasn't glitter in it. I don't really see the need for it. And I love the packaging. I think that it's so great. And while this is a tiny tube, apparently there's more product in, I don't have it sitting here, but the Milk contour stick, that tiny little contour stick, there's more product in this than there is in there, I think is what I saw. But deceivingly more product in here than you think. And as you saw, you really don't need a lot of it, especially if you go for more of a darker tone. And I think the serum formula on it makes these darker tones easier to blend, which I really appreciate about them. Will I go and pick up more shades though? Probably not. This I'm really enjoying. I think that it's so fun. I love seeing how it transforms my lips, you know, but again, it's very pricey, so I don't think it's necessary unless you are addicted to lip plumpers and you use them constantly. Then yeah, it may be worth picking up. Or if you just want one lip plumper, you don't want to fuss with any other ones, you don't want to test out any other ones, and you want something that's going to be versatile. These are so ultra finely milled, and this rose tone is not too pink for my skin tone. It doesn't completely like change the way that my makeup looks, which I appreciate. I think it does add just a slight bit of brightness to the skin. Now it may be because I do have a neutral tone that this pink works for me, because I find that yellow powders also can tend to work for me. So pay attention to your undertones and decipher whether a rosy shade or the honey shade would be better for you. But like I said, the honey shade is a little bit dark for what I like my under eyes and the rest of my face to look right now. So I am reaching for this rose one more than I am with the honey one, but I do anticipate that I'm going to start reaching for the honey one whenever I come back from my trip. Okay, I think that is everything, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this little shop with me and demo or very early impressions of these products. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of these products. Are you going to be picking up any of the ones that I did, or are you picking up any of the ones that I talked about in the video that I personally passed on? Let me know all of your thoughts. I would love to know what you guys think. And as always, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.